Okay, let's look at setting up materials and shaders for the lion. So I've just rendered the skin and the eye, no fur, and I've just made a render region on the eyes because I wanted to show how to set up the eye shader first. And just so you know, you can create a snapshot of your renders by clicking here, and then if you add another one, you can flip between the two. Okay, so to set up the eye shader, I first want to take a look at the inner eye, so I need to hide the cornea or the outer eye. So I'm just going to add another blast node. Oh, also let's pause this render so it's not calculating. Okay. So if I go into scene view, you can now see that the outer eye is now hidden. And if I go to material, what I did was I just took a principled shader and I plugged a texture map. This is the what you need to type if you want it to read UDIMs. And in this case, instead of plugging in the textures here under base color, I used it as a separate node because I wanted to be able to add a color correction to it afterwards. So once you've created your shader and you want to apply it, what you can do is you can assign materials under render here, but this geometry has multiple objects within it that I want to assign a separate shader to. It has the eyes and the teeth, and so what you can do is create a material node and here we can set the path and search for our material. Oh, here it is. Okay. And we can continue adding more materials and objects by pressing the plus sign here. So let's look at the one that I finished creating. So I've got the cornea, teeth, claws, skin, eyeball. Apparently maybe it's wrong. Okay, so now let's try to render this. Okay, here we have the inner eye, and you can see I can flip back and forth to see the difference. And now let's create a glass shader for the outer eye. So if I go here and then, let me pause this. Okay, let's go, let's do another pencil shader. Name this class test. So we want it fully transparent. Index of refraction 0.3. Okay. And if I go back to here, let's create another group and we'll select glass and unhide the cornea. Oops, set the roughness to 0. Okay, you'll see, even though I've set it to fully transparent, it's so dark and it's as if it's calculating shadows inside, which it shouldn't, and I had to Google search how to fix it, and credit to the person who posted this, I can't remember the name, but what I had to do was, so I just created a material builder here, and this is basically, again, just like a node that you can kind of view as a folder. So if I go into here, you'll see I still have that principal shader core and fully transparent index of refraction set to a glass value, which is 1.3. And then here we've got this ISS shadow node being plugged into a knot into float node, and then a multiply. So what it's doing is it's taking the shadows and then taking it out of what is happening inside of the shader. So we've got a compute lighting, then a surface output, and this is being plugged into the output here. And what this looks like is, oh, here. And now it actually looks like glass or an eyeball. It's so bizarre. But that's how I created the eyes. So you can see before, after. Okay.